All right, hello, everybody. Welcome into Off the Post. I'm your host, Karma. Always with us is Kranovi, and special guests today are Drku in the top left, TikTok superstar. Face reveal as well. We'll get to that in a second. And of course, a lot of you are familiar with Kash, pro player from Quadrant, major attendee. And I think we'll start there, Cam, if you don't mind talking to Kash. How's it feel, brother? Making the major finally. And you did it, you didn't play this weekend, so you got to kind of chill out and watch. Is that a positive for you? Is that a negative for you? How are you feeling?
I mean, I feel great, obviously, to make the major, but it is a sad feeling watching when obviously we went to both championship Sundays in Regional 1 and 2. But yeah, I mean, first major, I've been working for this for like the last 2 years, and it feels amazing.
Yeah, it's always been, going back to last season, not to bring up bad memories, but it's always the Regional 3. That's the hard one. It's always the tough one. But
Definitely
you guys put in the work in Regional 1 and Regional 2. I mean, you guys looked fantastic. And it was enough to push you over the finish line. You didn't have to worry too much. Got the games you needed. Your matchup, I believe, going into the major is going to be version 1. And I wanted to ask you, how confident are you going into that match on like a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm a 10. I mean, I've watched any of this whole split, and they're sleeper region right now, so it's going to be the Cash XCOM on LAN. I'm excited.
All right, I like to hear that.
Switching things over to Drku. Drku, obviously, face reveal for you. Are you a little nervous being on camera, or are you like completely comfortable? You're fine with it?
I mean, obviously, I haven't done this before, but yeah, I mean, it kind of feels natural, so I'll probably start doing it a bit more.
Yeah, I thought like when you first came onto the scene, I guess so to speak. I don't know how else to phrase that. I felt like TikTok is it's an interesting place because it's a spot where not many people like in Rocket League came from because it's such a newer thing. And before we get into like RLCS recap, just for you, how do you find it difficult coming from TikTok to get into the RLCS scene, like particularly the pro scene, if you're interested in that, or just the community in general? Just because you're coming from a different platform where not many Rocket League people are popularized in. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was always quite difficult because I was always like just mainly on TikTok. So moving to Twitch and different platforms wasn't the easiest because I literally had to start from scratch with no like people to help me. But as I've done it for like maybe like a year now, I've been streaming on Twitch, stuff like that. It's got easier, and I've made a lot more friends in the community.
That's great.
A question I wanted to ask you, Drku, was on your grind to content. Like I wanted to ask you first how you kind of just got started and like what made you do content, but then also like when you started, posting consistently, was it just this slow and steady increase, or were there some big breakthrough moments that like maybe this one video just suddenly popped off and it kind of propelled your channel and you realized, oh, I need to do this more, and it was kind of these big step ups here and there, or was it just like a very gradual increase?
Yeah, so this was back in lockdown, so like 2.5, 3 years ago. Me and my friends were bored, obviously, like everyone was. So we decided to do a race to 1,000 followers. So we just posted Rocket League clips. And yeah, ever since then, I've just been posting, not consistently, but there was a time, maybe like I'd say 2-3 months into me posting. And I got this video which literally just blew up. It was like 2-3 million views out of absolutely nowhere. And yeah, ever since then I've been posting like decently consistently with a few breaks, obviously, because you do get burnt out. But yeah, that's kind of what propelled my channel and helped me where I am now.
Awesome, that's sick to hear. Yeah, because I'm a big proponent for content creation, especially if you're a pro player. Cash, you gotta get on the. I know you got some plans coming up soon, but after the major, I want to start seeing my YouTube recommendations. I want to be scrolling through my For You page and a Cash video pops up. Like pro players, when you have the spotlight, when you've got that time, like use it to make content, because you can just, and you got to post it everywhere, because some platforms get a ton of views. like, pulling multiple millions of views. Like that's
crazy. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy to hear that from you, Darky. That just you post some Rocket League clips, and obviously your clips are very good. I've seen them. You're a very, very talented player. But like just to get that many views on something, like that's so many eyes on you, and that can really just help with like not just your career, but just with like your name and your longevity in the scene. So I always encourage people to just do more content.
Absolutely. Content definitely for any pros or up and comers listening. It's better to get your name out there, especially with the way the bubble scene is right now, where there's pretty much just nothing.
What bubble scene?
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing for you to do right now. And, the way you create value for yourselves, obviously, is through numbers. For organizations, it's like a marketing. So any up and coming players out there, even if you don't think you're good, it's better to just get something going. I also think it's good, too, just like it's a good way to meet people in the community and get involved in the Rocket League scene. So apart from the content side, obviously we have the EU Invitational this weekend. And Carmine Corp once again made it to the finals, but lose this time to Liquid. And I have an interesting statistic, which is probably not known to anyone. I've been giving my boost and alpha wheels to Team Liquid for probably 6 months, every regional, okay? And I've also given them to Jan. When Jan had it, he's lost every tournament except the Middle Eastern one with my boost. So I was assuming it was cursed. And this confirms it because I didn't give my stuff to Team Liquid this weekend and they win the whole thing. They didn't even make past top 8 last time. So I think that's enough to conclude. Nobody asked me for my boost anymore. Okay, all of Team Liquid, leave me alone. You're not getting it. It's cursed. I'm just gonna sell it at this point.
Maybe you should help Kash out for the major.
Yeah,
and
give it to V1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beast mode and your wheels while you're at it.
Yeah, I'll drop it off to Archie. But so Team Liquid. I'll start with Kash. Okay, Kash. Team Liquid to me is really confusing because when I watch them, in my head as a boomer Rocket League player, I'm like, you're overcommitting. There's too many people forward. Okay. What is going on? And then somehow a Chronic is pre-jumping whatever his teammate's doing and is going for a double touch. Is it as crazy on the field as it seems like as an analyst watching these games against Liquid?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every time we scrim them, it's always just chaos, complete chaos. Atau and Oski just going as fast as they can for the ball. And I think a Chronic's actually quite underrated as a third man. He always makes sure that they don't get counter-attacked easily. And I mean, yeah, they're just overall a chaotic team.
And does that play into their advantage, do you think, as a team that, like, maybe they thrive in chaos and it's not really as... Like, when Splice played, we were very organized, and I realize that times have completely changed. But I feel like French teams as well are very organized, and even teams like Oxygen, where it's like they have a game plan, and they're just kind of doing it, and it's not... They don't seem to deviate hugely from it. With Liquid, it just seems like they're all in all the time, and they do get punished, but they score more than they get punished, and it just seems like a weird play style that is... Can it translate on LAN, do you guys think? I don't know. It just seems like so ballsy, for lack of a better word.
I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I think if they're confident and they're playing good on the day, I think it works. But also we've seen in Regional 1 and 2 where they weren't performing the best and they had the implications, and obviously it was the reason they played bad and didn't get the result they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, with it translating to stage though, I think players play so many games now. And I mean, Liquid have played on stage before. I mean, they reverse swept G2 on a stage. That was London, I think, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I think they could totally translate it. It's all about how you're feeling on the day. And I thought Carmine actually looked really good today. They were like more of the controlled chaos style. Like they kind of just always have a touch. Like they're ready to just hit it past you. And they follow up really well. They have some really great infield passing. Like they just kind of sneak passes in, like drop down aerial to somebody waiting in the box. But I mean, Liquid have an incredibly high ceiling. And it's just a matter of whether they hit it or not on the day. That's what I think. It's more of an on the day thing.
And for you, Drku, where does Team Liquid rank for you for the major? Do you feel like they could be potential LAN winners? Do you think they'll struggle to make it out of groups? Because For me, I think Team Liquid has always been this team that is on the bubble of greatness, I guess. Like, they all have had high expectations. They're highly mechanical. It's just like, can they put it together? Do you think they can put it together for the major, make a run? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you saw what they did today, so of course they can. I think all three of them incredibly mechanical. So if they're having a good day, then why not?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. It's kind of hard for me to go off of a lot of Liquid results just because I feel like they have been consistently top 8, but from there it's just kind of like it's always a question mark, right? And I think this might be a huge confidence builder for them. They dominated. They even played Team Vitality, who not to jump all the way back into the bracket, but I'm a big Team Vitality fan of all three of those players, and I think that they're kind of on the rise. And they handled them completely 4-1. It didn't really look close. And then they went on to EG, who is another team that is kind of like Liquid, where it's like they have a lot of potential. They could be stellar. And it seems like they didn't really put it together this split, handled them 4-1. And I just wonder, is this the turning point for Team Liquid? Kash, are you afraid now more of the Team Liquid that you are used to now that they have a win under their belt? Or is it, they still have a little bit more proving to do?
I mean, for me, I'm never personally afraid of teams because I believe that my team can be the best in EU as well. But I definitely think Liquid winning this regional will be a shift of momentum for them and build the confidence, and they'll be a lot more consistent. Yeah.
I think one thing, Cam, that was like we talked about during the finals. Carmine wasn't playing for anything once they made this finals, right? So
not really.
Carmine were playing for points, right, or more dominance.
Just pride. That's kind of what they, just to prove they were the best. And I mean, to be honest, that's all like Vatira needs. I think he's all about proving like that he's the best player, and he just exudes this confidence in his Rocket League. So I feel like Carmine were still playing like near peak performance, or they were definitely trying, but Liquid had a lot more to play for, like because they went up to second seed, I believe, off of this, so they get to play.
They jumped the Oxygen boys.
Yeah, they get Team Secret now, who are no slouch, but still, it's a lot. I would say if you're Team Liquid, you would probably rather have Team Secret over
G2.
I think they would have gotten G2. Yeah, I think you pick Team Secret almost every time there if you're Team Liquid. So a lot to play for, but they're coming off of just a ton of momentum as well. To qualify on the same day that you get to play the grand final. Like I've had moments like that. I know what that feels like, and that it's this like permanent adrenaline rush for the rest of the day, and you get to play the grand final on that. So pretty nice for them. But it was at the same time, it's good timing, right? Winning a regional 3 is a lot better than winning a regional 1 and then kind of like slowing down, which I think happened to Oxygen, who's a team I want to like touch on a little bit that I'm actually a bit worried for the major. As good as they looked in regional 1, it's been hit or miss here or there. And so I'm wondering for teams that have had, a rough regional 2, maybe a rough regional 3, what's on the drawing board for them. They have a lot of time. This is probably the longest break you get is between regional 3 and a major, and then maybe the major and regional 1. You don't get really that many more breaks in Rocket League anymore. So what are teams like the number one focus for them going into the major to make adjustments? You want to win that round 1. You have to prep for that match as much as possible. Swiss is very important. Starting off 1-0 is great. You don't want to be like, Moist were tweeting nonstop this weekend because they didn't make it out of Swiss. They started 0-2 in Swiss and just couldn't beat out Williams Resolve in game 5. And they were stuck with the fate, outside of their hands, just having to watch games. So you don't want to have that happen to you. You want to start strong in Swiss, and winning that round 1 and starting 1-0 is like super important. So I guess, Kash, I mean, not to leak any strats or anything, but what do you think's the number one focus for y'all going into the major to beat V1?
At least for us, I feel like there was quite a big difference between the way we performed as a team in Regional 2 and Regional 3. So I think for us, we'll be looking back and just seeing what we did different, what we changed from Regional 2 to Regional 3, and just trying to get back to what we were like in Regional 2, because obviously the result in Regional 3 wasn't what we wanted, but we still know we're more than capable of getting them top 2s in majors and winning majors or top 8s.
And is there a shift in mentality when you guys don't make a top 8, Cash? Just because I feel like you guys lost to what I thought were the top 2 seeds in Europe, which, not to say that you can't beat them, right? I'm not saying that. However, I'm not saying losses matter more than others, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, you lost to Carmine and Oxygen, who you can argue are the top 2 teams in Europe on their day. And I think Oxygen, particularly when you lost to them, was during the first regional. They were a different beast that weekend. I don't know what they all drank. G Fuel, whatever. And then you played Carmine, who seemed like they ran into that form as well in that regional. And then your third regional, of course, you guys didn't play the way you wanted, but what I'm trying to say is I hope there's not a shift in mentality for you guys. Of course, you want to make sure that you're buttoning down the hatches and making sure you're playing the way you want. However, you can't be too upset about your losses so far, right? Heading into the major, you guys have to still be pretty confident.
Oh, definitely not. I think we've all exceeded our expectations in making the major in the first split in general anyway, so I think we're all very happy with how much we've improved so much already, but we've also got to remember that we've all got a very high drive to win, and we will do whatever it takes to win, so we just got to keep working hard.
What's it like teaming with Relating Wave? Coming from the experience that he had last year. Obviously, he left his team, found a new team. With his experience, is he a quiet guy? Is he more of an in-game leader? What's it like playing with him?
He's a very quiet guy. I think he's a lovely person and we get on well, but he's very quiet. He kind of he tries to just fit into the team and let the players do what they want, and he just does his job. But Wave, I think Wave's heavily slept on in Europe at least.
And I also kind of, not to dominate the conversation, but I kind of feel the same way about Ixo. Just because when I used to visit Europe a lot, I'd play him all the time, and I just thought he was spectacular, especially back in the day in 1v1s. Now I think he's more proving his prowess in 3s. What's it like teaming with Ixo as well? I think that, all 3 of you being British players, is that something you guys kind of bond over? That cultural aspect? And I ask that because I have this theory that the EU cultures kind of influence play styles and groups and teams and stuff like that. Can you speak to that at all, or am I just losing all my marbles?
I feel like the at least the Spanish scene is definitely influenced by it, because you can tell just from watching the Spanish teams to like us, for example, they're just hectic. They're very demo heavy, very aggressive, very ball chasey. So in an aspect, I can agree to it. And in regards to team with Ixo, I mean, Ixo is just one of the hardest grinders I've ever seen in the game. Me and him, we click really well, and we both have the same drive to win. And he's kind of like the IGL of the team. He kind of makes sure everything's going well. We're sticking to what we want to because he's been with our coach Snaski the longest. And yeah, having the full UK team is just, the vibes are always immaculate. We all get on really well, and it's just, we can laugh about the same things as well.
And you guys don't have a sub, right? Because we have an English player in the Discord with us, just saying, who is available for
Unfortunately,
a sub spot.
We do have a sub.
Oh, you do?
We have Paula, who is a UK person as well. So that obviously makes everything
Drku.
a bit sweeter.
I tried, bro. I'm sorry. How are you feeling, Drku, watching all these teams? Like, do you have pro aspirations?
I was also going to ask, do you even have time with all the content you're doing? Do you have time to watch all these RLCS games?
Oh yeah, I do have time. But yeah, in terms of pro, it's more of like if it happens, it happens. I don't really like going out of my way to do scrims and 6-mans and all that stuff. I just play ranked and get clips from there. So if I end up on a good team that does well, then I'll try. But yeah, it's not like a drive for me. It's more of if it if it happens, it happens.
Well, how many views would a TikTok get if it was a clip, but it was in RLCS? Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah, true. I mean,
10 million?
Yeah, of course it will be like if I do go pro, it'll the views will go up and my profile will go up as well. But it's really tough because you see everyone trying to go pro and I'm still quite far away in terms of going pro. So yeah, I mean I would love to. I would, but you know, it's a hard grind. It's a hard grind.
I mean, it's a big time commitment. I mean, I know a lot of teams do minimum 2 hours of scrims every day, probably an hour of VOD review quite often. I mean, Cash, how many hours do you spend just like not even in ranked, just like scrims, replays, training for something specific?
We scrim like normally. We scrim like 2-3 hours a day, and then I personally I have one individual session, an hour every week, or sometimes more if necessary. And then obviously I'm a bad shooter, so I always have to practice my shooting every time I get on the game. So
I relate to that a lot. Because I switched to both air rolls only now, so I don't have a normal, and my shooting is gone in the tank. It's so hard to aim with just those. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions for Cash or Drku or me and Cam, feel free to join the Discord. Hop on, we'll pull you in. An admin will be in there just to ask you for your topic. But the phone lines are open if you guys want to hop in, ask a question. Our Discord, feel free. Everything has to be respectful, of course. I shouldn't have to say that, but I'll throw that out there every time. So looking back now more towards the regional and the results, is there anything here, Drku, that surprised you this regional? Any result that you thought, maybe is painting a picture towards something larger, or is it just EU depth at work?
I was really impressed by G1. I think they haven't had the best results recently, but I mean, they showed this regional that the potential they have. All of them are great players, obviously. That goes without saying. And I think genuinely they can compete with the best.
Yeah, G1 seemed like when they played Oxygen. So I cast Oxygen's game, so I'm pretty familiar with that team. And they struggle with G1 in particular because of this, like, somewhat stacking the net. I don't know how else to describe it. And I don't know if you see the same, all of you guys. Not that they're just stacking the net, but they have, like, these layers of defense, and they almost allow Oxygen to shoot. And I feel like it's an Oxygen-specific playstyle for them, because when I watch them against KC, it doesn't really seem to be the same. And I guess what I'm asking is, what's it going to take for G1 to get over the hump? Because for me, I'm seeing a lot of good things, okay? Really good things. And I think they have potential, but they're missing something. And I don't know how to put my finger on it. It's just something when I watch, it doesn't seem like they can get to a grand finals playing that way. And win a grand finals, like, multiple times, like, comfortably. Am I crazy?
I would agree with you. I mean, it's hard as well. I don't really know what they could do to push over that edge, but I definitely agree with you.
It just feels like there's something missing with the G1 in terms of threat. It feels like they have all the basics down. They cover each other. They have layers. They have attack. They have ability to score. They can get games off of you. But I don't think that they can go in and dominate you for a series. I think it's kind of just a scrappy mess, as Jack uses to kind of describe Europe to NA. I feel like that's kind of G1's play style, and it gets them far. I just don't see them winning. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I think G1 can play very consistently and like have a very high floor and just really wear teams down, and you'd be surprised at how often that play style just can work against so many teams. Maybe not not against the championship team that's popping off, but I mean, we wouldn't even need to worry about talking about what do G1 need to fix if they had just not choked regional 2. I mean, they were up 2-0 in Swiss, and then they took a L to Quadrant, EG, and Aogiri, and
Cash sent them home.
They went home, and they only missed the major by a few points. If they had just made it out of Swiss, they would have been fine. So, and honestly, I feel like the EG Aogiri game, like they beat Monkeys and they beat Carmine in game 5 to go up 2-0 in Swiss. Like that they should have been on top of the world. Like they've had solid form in Swiss, and they just lost it in regional 2. So I think to go all the way back, EU depth is I was calling this after Worlds. I'm like, EU depth is not a real thing. It's just EU consistency. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's the question I have for Drku and Cash. Is EU better than NA right now in terms of RLCS top 1 through 16? Because let me sprinkle some BDS, not top 8 this season, number 1 team from last year. and I know they're dealing with things, and that's something we'll probably talk about a little bit, is some burnout. But you've Tundra, a top 4 team from last time, 12th this time. Not to get on you, Kash, either. Quadrant as well, outside the top 8. Ogiri, who had been making tons of noise early on, barely top 16. And even Metza in the 16th seed. So Europe, some spotty results. But also on the other side, NA, I feel like once you get outside the top X number of teams, you guys can pick a number. Yeah, you guys can pick a number. It's like a mountain. It's like Kronovi. It's just a steep drop off after top 8, and it's like a big skill gap. So I'll leave it to you, Drku. Is EU better than NA right now?
It's so hard to say because I don't know. It's like Rocket League is is a game where consistency matters so much, and you see teams that are on top one day, they fall off the next day. It's like it's so difficult to say. So honestly, I don't know. Because yeah, I can't answer that question.
How about you, Kash?
EU over any day. I've got to back my region. I've got to.
Okay, well, I was gonna have a follow-up question. Is which region is gonna win the major this time? Obviously, Kash. I guess you're going with.
Yeah, I'm going with Europe.
EU. Okay, Darky, do you want to predict a region to
Yeah,
win?
I'll back my
Okay.
own region. I'll back my own region.
Okay, that's fair. That's respectful.
Come on.
Is this a just where you're from bias, or are you guys like really looking at it statistically here?
Well, I mean, I was gonna go NA, so.
Okay, but I was not. So I'm
Yeah,
on
you
the
were gonna.
EU team.
What were you? What? You're a
Yeah,
traitor.
so I'm
the only NA
piling
person
on
here.
Cam right now. I'm on the EU side. I think EU's better. Yeah, NA hasn't shown me anything. And I kind of want to go on a rant about it, but at the
What do you mean?
same
Genji's
time,
the
it's
best
like,
NA team to ever grace
well,
North
yeah,
America.
the EU kids are winning
No,
in NA.
no. Apparently, Jack's the greatest NA player of all time. Okay?
I don't want to
Like,
make
Yeah, and he
this-
wasn't even the best in EU. And he went to NA and now he's the best.
I know,
Nice.
that's the thing, right? And not to knock off Jack or Nolly, but Jack wasn't even a top 8 team last time, the last 2 regionals, or 2 splits, right? Not just the regional splits. And then he goes to NA with Nolly and Chronic, who comes out of nowhere, apparently. Even though Chronic's been around for a while, chat, let me tell you. He's just a picky guy. I don't blame him because he's insane. But
Look, all I'm saying is, last time an EU player moved to NA, he won a world championship.
that's true. But Cam, you just said that against your own region. Like
No,
an EU player went to NA and
Turbo
won.
became one of the greatest NA players of all time. He's North American now. He's mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jack
so
him
now
now,
is
Turbo's
mine.
North American.
But
Okay, we gotta get
every
Turbo
king
on
has
for
his
the
reign.
major and ask
Every
him
king
here.
has his reign. Turbo's was the longest of all time.
Is
it will
it
never
long?
be
Was
matched.
Turbo's longer than BDS due to the
Yes.
format? Do you
think
do you
so,
guys
yeah.
consider Turbo's reign better than BDS?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So Turbo's still the GOAT for you guys, other than me, obviously.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
wanted to
about.
confirm that. Yeah, because like for me, and not to make this isn't the NA show, but I'm pissed off at FaZe. I'm just mad at FaZe. FaZe always don't win, and I don't know how to word it better. They have one of the best players ever on their team, and it's always something with them not winning. And I'm kind of getting annoyed, even though they're not doing terrible. It's like 4th and 2nd. It's like, how can you be mad at 4th and 2nd? But at the same time, their whole goal, the reason they're making changes is to win, right? So if FaZe are just dominating an A right now, and even they can't win, and then you look at Europe and teams are changing all over the place. And for me, it's just, Europe has to be the dominant region, in my opinion, because of that. And I don't really think it's depth. I think it more has to do with play styles for European players. And NA has me very concerned with the way they play the game, because you have 2 European players come over who have fundamentals, chat. Fundamentals. It's not crazy mechanics and insane. I mean, they are crazy mechanically, but... And then they just make NA look silly. They make grand finals 3 times in a row and then win the 3rd one. So if Gen G win the major, is that an NA team winning the major?
Yes.
So that would
Of course it
count as
is.
an
Yeah.
NA team for you?
I think that will count, but I don't think they're gonna win.
I'm interested to see how Gen G do against Europe. I think it's a really interesting storyline because of how I don't want to say bad, how bad I think NA is. It's more like how inconsistent the NA play style is. I think Gen G are exposing them, and I kind of want to see how Gen G play against Europe, because I think Europe will fully expose NA at the major. I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
NA have always been top heavy. I don't know how or why, but we've always been a bit top heavy. Luckily, when you go to the major, you only send your best teams. So I think North America will do okay. They'll do just fine. I think there are a few. The fact that Furia moved to NA, and then like I'm so sad that we don't see Furia at the major, because on the stage those three players are pure magic, and we just don't get to see them. Like it's honestly tragic.
Yeah, not to do an NA show here, but guys, do you think that was a mistake?
I think so.
Open-ended. You think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the Drku?
Okay. Oh, wait, what was the question
Do
again?
you think Furia moving to NA was a mistake?
I mean, why would it be? It's better practice.
They didn't make the major.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're not going to make the major in NA, then I don't know. Maybe they didn't deserve to do it anyway.
That's an interesting point of view.
That's the alpha mindset.
I think Jan always deserves to make the major.
I agree. I think Jan's just different level.
Yeah, Jan is impressive for a lot of reasons, not just because he, the highlights that we see. It's everything for him, and it's a lot of, for me, the off the ball stuff that is more crazy. It's more like how he takes a pass, I guess, or like a play. I feel like he always rotates his car somehow to get the best, most unpredictable hit on it, and his outplays are just the best in the world. Vatira's are up there too. I think him and Jan for me for outplays are like tied. Kash, you're close too. I love what you do when you're on the ball. You do some weird stuff. I watch your stream a lot. When you're playing twos, I lurk. And like just the creativity that Jan has on the ball. I think it's a shame he's not the major. And
I have to agree.
Yeah, any thoughts on that, Kash? I didn't mean to cut you off earlier.
That's fine. I just think, Furia, I think it was a bit risky moving to NA, because I still think that they could have improved a lot more just by experience in the majors. Obviously, they got the Gamers 8 win, but I just think if they stayed in SAM for another season, and then obviously you see the club, they're looking dominant, they look like pretty much the new Furia of SAM. I just think if they get another season, got more LAN experience, I think it would have been smarter to move to NA a bit later.
Yeah, that was it for me too, Cam. Crow. For me, it just felt like an early move, because they just had success, right? Like they dominated that whole South American region that season, won every regional except for one, I believe. Went to the majors, made top 8 every time. Go to Middle East, that was it Saudi Arabia?
Gamers 8.
Gamers 8, yeah.
Gamers 8.
Saudi Arabia.
Win that, right? And then move. I kind of agree with Kash. I think you should have had that longevity a little bit longer. And then maybe... It's hard, though, because as an individual, I feel like Jan probably would have gotten poached if they didn't move this season. So with that in mind, maybe that might have been a factor.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't see why they would like leave each other, because they were the only SAM team that was able to like perform internationally, those three. And I mean, Furia is like the biggest org there by far. Like you don't want to leave Furia, really. I think,
especially after this weekend. I mean,
right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, CS:GO kind of changed everyone's opinion on, I think, lands in South America.
Yeah, but the players probably had the dilemma of, do we stay in SAM for another season? Which now is, do we wait another year, or do we move now? Because you're not going to move in the middle of the season. Like that's just not feasible. You either do it right then, or you wait an entire year. And maybe it was impatience. Maybe there was pressure, or they felt like maybe there was pressure to continue like the hot streak they were on. And maybe they thought, oh, we are on a hot streak, so let's move and take advantage of it. But they've fallen into the same trap Complexity did, in my opinion. And after some time, I mean, now Shad's not on complexity anymore, and he went back to Sam, and I don't think his team qualified for the major. It was very close. They had a tiebreaker. But it's just like you could just stay in your region and be really strong. Kash, what would it take you to move regions, you think? Like maybe not even NA, like what
I
would
don't think I'd
possess
ever
you to
move
move?
regions. I probably should say this here, but I did have offers last season from NA teams. But it just doesn't
Optic.
interest me. I'd rather,
Optic.
I personally, no, it wasn't Optic. It wasn't Optic. I personally would
Damn
rather
it.
stay in EU because I still believe that EU is the best region, and if I can't qualify for a major in my own region, I personally don't think I deserve to even have the chance to move region, because I feel like I'm too proud of my own region as well. So I don't think anything would make me move regions.
Would you, Drku? If Rogue called you
Um,
up and said, "Yo, we love your TikToks. Come play pro for us." You in or you out?
Probably not. I think it's still an early time in my career.
I'd
It's still an
say.
early time in Flash as well. But no, I think staying in your region is good. Like the only time that you should move or maybe debate moving is if you're having like problems. Which Cash, you are not. You're doing really well right now. So yeah, I'd definitely stay in my own region until something happened maybe.
Even if you were offered, like, I'm just gonna throw a number out there, 20,000 a month to play for a team in NA,
No.
but Europe's
mean-
offering you 10. You're still staying in Europe, Cash?
If
Double
money
your
satisfies you, in this game, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. I don't play this game for money. I do it to win.
Interesting. Okay. Do
That's
you
the
echo the
mindset a
same
lot of-
sentiment?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said, Drku, do you echo that sentiment?
Yeah, I think that's a great mindset to have, because when you're focusing on just money with things, it's very easy to get upset and lose motivation and all that stuff. So if you just do things that you love, and you do it because you love it, then you can money isn't everything. Basically, money isn't everything.
Definitely not, but I do think it helps persuade, I will say.
Yeah, of course.
Which I think, and the reason I asked that was because I imagine that is Furia's number one incentive is salary, because I don't understand, unless it was an org pressure, right? The org wanted to force a team to get an NA for the exposure for the organization. I don't know the real answer, but the reason I brought it up was because the rumors around the scene are just because Furia wanted financially to benefit more. And yeah, I kind of agree with you two. In the same respects, it's a little different for them, I would say, just because I agree with you guys. If you're at home and you're making a salary and you don't have the burden of having to pay rent or live on your own, like moving to a different country, I definitely think that can, at least, not to use the when you get older card, but I think, depending on where you are in your life, that can become a factor and add stress and stuff like that, especially for older players who maybe be living on their own or focusing on their brand, stuff like that.
There are no pro players above the age of 19 in Rocket League anymore.
What do you mean? I'm 21. I'm getting there. I'm getting to the
no,
boomers.
Cash,
your
you're
hands
21?
hurt yet.
I'm 21. Yeah.
You look so young.
Do you finish
I
scrims?
turned
and
21 2 weeks ago.
Happy
doing
birthday.
knees?
Thank you.
Welcome to my... Nope, you're still not in my age bracket. I'm
I'll get
25
there.
to 30. You're 20
You're
to
in the
25.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the 20s, but for how long, I'm not going to say. As we move on, back to a little bit of... I'm going to ask you guys some fun questions I have written down here.
We might have some callers too. I think.
Oh, that was what I was going to do. Thank you. My ADD took over. We have caller on the line. Rhythm is going to come in. He has a question for us. I'm going to drag him in now. Rhythm, are you there?
Yep.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing?
We're doing good. Where are you calling from today?
Perfect. I call from KC Mo.
KC Mo? What is KC Mo?
Yeah, my bad,
Kansas
my bad.
City, Missouri. I got you.
Yes.
Are you a Pioneer supporter?
See, I knew what that meant. I knew what that meant.
Of
Man,
course.
I'm wearing my merch right now too. Like, it's
yeah,
It does look good, I will say.
I love the collection. I might have to actually cop it. Like, it looks so good.
Hey, if you do that, use my code. I'm just saying, 5% off.
Hey, yo, what's the code? What's the code?
Hashtag ad.
Hey, yeah, my question's actually for Cash. So, Cash, I checked your Liquipedia, and it looks like it's your first ever RLCS LAN event. So I just want to ask you, like, what's the confidence level for you and Quadrant just going into this? You know, compared to because your first match is against South America, so you never played a South American team before. So how's the just the motivation, like, and what's going on behind the scenes, preparing to play teams that aren't Europe?
I mean,
Thank you for
I'm really
calling,
excited.
sorry, thanks for calling Rhythm before you answer, Cash. I'm just going to let you go,
Okay,
all right,
okay.
buddy?
All right, cool.
See
Thank
you,
you.
Rhythm.
See ya.
All right, Cash, go for it. Sorry.
So for me, I mean, we don't really have any expectations set on us for the major, so I'm extremely confident going in because realistically, we're probably the heavily underdogs compared to all the teams in there. We obviously play V1 first, which comes obviously a loud guy at LAN, so it'll probably be me and him going back and forth. But preparations is just grinding hard and try and have fun with it because obviously it's my first official RLCS LAN.
Are you going to be going, Drku?
No, I'm not. I'm
Just
not.
chilling at home for this one?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
He's gonna have it up on his other monitor while he's clipping in ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the grind.
You already know.
Do you only queue EU, Drku, or can I snipe you in NA and get clipped on?
Oh, I sometimes Q&A.
I think
Okay.
I've seen you once in
I'm
one
trying to
game
get on
ever.
the Drku
Yeah.
TikTok.
I remember it was me and Tenacity, and we had you on our team Crow, and I think we in threes, and I think we won that. So
Yeah, I didn't see an
nice.
upload though. That's crazy. Like I could have swore I scored a good goal or something. That's
Damn,
wild.
camera cut out of the edit. You guys heard it here live.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No,
Someone
just,
ring the bell. They're going round 8. Rhythm, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. We have another caller on the line. Hoxie's calling us. I'm gonna drag him in. Hoxie, are you there? If you're there, Hoxie, you're muted. We'll give you a second. Hey, Hoxie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Where are you calling from today?
I'm from the United Kingdom, UK.
Another Brit. God bless. I have to deal with all you
Hey, on
today.
top. Hey, on top.
What's your question for him, Hoxie?
I got 2 questions, or am I only allowed to ask 1?
Oh, you're allowed to ask too? Sure.
Okay,
What's
I've
the
got
first
one
one?
for Drku and Kash.
Okay.
Okay, I'll ask one to Kash first. Kash, how do you keep at the top of your gameplay and still have like your mentality up?
Do you want me to answer that now or wait?
Oh, you can go, Cash.
I mean, it's just I haven't actually won anything in the game yet, and obviously I don't see myself at the top right now still because I haven't really achieved that much yet. So it's just a matter of keeping myself motivated and wanting to be the best player in the world because I don't believe that I'm near there yet.
Fair enough. And my second one's for Drku. Drku, if you ever went pro, would you make your own team and build the chemistry up there, or would you wait for a pro team to pick you up?
I don't know. If I was to go pro, I think the way it would happen was me actually like be in a team and maybe make day 3 from there, or do well with that team. So yeah, I'd probably say just sort of like an own team, not an org.
Kronovi, I love you, but I don't have a question for you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
What about
That's,
me,
you know,
Oxy?
I appreciate
What
it.
the hell?
No, he loves me. He
Are
loves
you
me. Back
kidding
up.
me?
Back up.
Are you kidding me?
Hey,
I'm
on
not
me,
sure.
on me.
I'm just kidding, bro. You're good.
Alright, I love you guys. I'll see you later.
Thanks for calling,
Thank
Oxy.
you.
Call again
Thanks,
soon.
man. Yeah.
All right, that was awesome. I love taking callers. Chat, if you guys want to call in, feel free to call in. Love hearing from you guys. I also see GC in chat. GC, I saw the WCBC championships go on today. How'd you guys do today? WCBC
today.
for the women's. Yeah, the European Women's League was on today.
She's up for Endpoint, right?
She is. Top 4 they did. Congratulations. Not a dub, but still nicely represent. Failed reverse sweep to Fuchsia. Fuchsia.
That's rough.
Fuchsia's cracked. Okay, she's got the freestyler Max on her. You can't be too upset. But top 4 still pretty good. Anyways, we're gonna enter some fun questions. GC, feel free to call in if you want. Love to hear from you. Guys, who do you have winning the World Cup this year? Now you're both from the UK. Please don't disappoint me with these answers, okay? All right, Drku, with you. Who you got winning the World Cup?
England. Is that even a question?
Oh,
Obviously.
no.
Obviously.
This is what I wanted to avoid, Cam. This is why we don't have 2 British people on at the same time.
Okay, I'll be fair. I'd say, yeah, out of England or Brazil. My 2.
Okay, England or Brazil.
Yeah.
Why England? Do you think Harry Kane can carry that hard? Because you guys you have Maguire on your squad.
The
Harry
best in the world.
Maguire on your squad. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Best in the world. What can I say?
Best in the world. As a
Yeah,
Man U fan, I strongly disagree.
As a Man U fan as well, I have to strongly disagree.
It has been painful watching him the past 2 years. I'm sorry, Harry. If you somehow find this, you're a great player, but you don't work in the Man U system.
Not for United. It's
so funny though when he goes on. I know. Sorry, Cam. You might be a little in the darkness, but when Harry Maguire plays for England, he turns into an absolute monster. He's heading it left and right. It's unbelievable. And then when he plays for his normal team, he disappears into the shadows. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right,
you guys go wild with your World Cup talks. I haven't watched a minute of football since I was 10 years old watching Chelsea games. So
you have
it's
England
been a long
too, Kash?
time.
No. England have not a chance of winning. I have France. I think France are too strong.
Oh, he's got the blue wall. Cam, are you a blue waller?
I don't know what I am. I'm just gonna I might not even watch. It's I don't know. I'm gonna sports. Woo! I'm gonna play Rocket League instead, probably.
The French are winning the World Cup and the major. You heard it here first. No, I'm just kidding.
There's not even that many French players at the major when you think about it.
There's 2. There's 3, right? There's Vatira. There's Vatira, Exotic, Itachi, and Atau. They're all
It's the
UK.
English
Wait,
takeover
Atau
at the
is
major.
French?
UK on top. Atau is Belgium, but he's from
Belgium,
the French.
okay, yeah, Belgium.
Part of Belgium. And then
Wow.
Astral as well, so there's 5, right?
Yeah, if you count Astral too.
Yeah.
That's a good jumping off point. That was one of the fun questions. I had another one, but now that you brought that up, I did want to ask you guys, what's going on Moist? Because for me, I'm scared for Moist. I made a tweet earlier when they made the 1 seed that really pissed the French community off. That said that, Moist get the number 1 seed when they kick their best player. It wasn't at Vatira, just for the clarification. It was because I thought analysts were underrating Moist really heavily, and that Vatira was a big part of it, but not the whole thing. And now I'm concerned. I love my Moist boys, obviously. And I just worry where the team's heading. It seems like right now they're on a downward trend. And can you, maybe Cam, or any of you, just hop in, elaborate why that maybe they're struggling a little bit?
Well, I don't think you have anything to stress about personally.
Okay.
Off season, Moist were left in a very bad spot when Vatira left. They didn't have that many options, and at last second they had to get Astral. So I don't think they've had enough practice yet still as a team. I still think they're trying to learn a dynamic as a team, what playstyle works best for them. And I also do agree with you that everyone was heavily underestimating Moist with Vatira. I feel like Joyo and Rise was slept on when Vatira left. Obviously, everyone was bandwagoning Vatira. Obviously, he is the best player in EU right now, but I still think Joyo and Rise are definitely up there.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, Kash. I mean, it's just like when Vatira left, there's just this massive gap, and they just haven't had enough time to figure it out, because they played together for a while, and they played a lot of top level tournaments and major finals together, and that forms a strong bond. And then Vatira left, and it just got totally shattered. So I feel like their whole play style has just been a band-aid fix, and they haven't really had time to properly adjust it or play around Astral more, who I still think still has it. He's been playing a long time, and people thought after KSU was having issues at like the beginning and middle of RLCSX and like near the end of last season or near the beginning of last season, that Astral just maybe was a relic of the past, not his old self, but he's still got it. And I think he gets underrated a lot because Vatira's shoes are very hard to fill.
I mean, he showed it at London as well. Astral was crazy at London. I agree. I think Astral's still one of the top players in the EU as well.
You feel the same way, Drku?
Yeah, I mean, Astral's always been really mechanical, and he's always been one of the best. I mean, he did have a bit of a drop off, but I think that's due to him maybe not having the right mentality or not having the right team. So I think if you put him in a good team with the right players, then yeah, he's amazing.
Now, what happens if they don't do well at the major? Will you guys still feel the same way? Like,
Yeah.
is the major a tipping point for you, or you're still on board despite major results?
I'm still on board. I'm
Okay.
definitely still on board. I still think, I mean, you saw in Regional 3 they had the bad results. I still think they're at that stage of they haven't found out what works best for them. And obviously they've got this month break now between the major and major to fix it. But I still think even if they do bad at the major, I still think they've got enough time to work it out and become obviously the best team in EU again.
And I feel the same way for Oxygen. Having at least seen their peak play style is a lot. And I don't like to make these comparisons because times have changed, but they play very similar to how my team Splice played. Very pass heavy. Well, I'll say we prioritized passing more than shooting, and I feel like that's kind of what Oxygen do. And one problem we ran into when we did that is, number one, it's hard to play as confidently as we did in scrims playing that style as you do in RLCS, because things matter, and just sending passes a lot of the time you can be terrified, because if you mess up, it's a huge mistake if a pass is intercepted nowadays. That's kind of why we struggle a lot. But in terms of Oxygen, they have way higher of a mechanical ceiling, of course, than we did. So I think they have a lot easier time doing it. Do you guys feel like that playstyle is sustainable? Or do you think that they peaked Regional 1 because people weren't used to their playstyle and it came out of the gate and it caught people by surprise? Now they have some film on them and they're struggling a lot more than they did.
I mean, for me, from playing them, they kind of remind me of like last season's Carmine with Nolly. I do agree they're very pass heavy. Obviously Jory's mechanical ability, he's incredible.
Oh, he's crazy.
But
Yeah.
I just think that kind of playstyle only works for a little while, because when people get used to it, you don't have anything else to fall back on. Obviously you have the mechanical ability, but if people start reading the passes and everything, you're gonna completely change as a team.
Yeah, it's also, I also feel like it's really hard to consistently find openings in the defense that are repeatable actions. Like, you can't just set up for the same pass over and over and over again. So you need to have different types of passes all the time and change things up. And I think Oxygen, surprisingly, when their boost levels, I feel like, are adequate, they can do that. And they're very dangerous. But I feel like when, and maybe you can speak to this too, Kash and Drku, is like when a team is purposely boost starving you, especially Oxygen, I feel like they can't put their foot on the accelerator because they just don't have the ability. It's such a boost heavy way to play the game that it's risky. Am I off on that assessment?
No, I think you're 100% on. I mean, I can only speak from the scrims we've had against them, and obviously the regional we played against them. But if they don't have full boost at the times they want to attack, they're definitely a lot less scary than what the would be with boost. I would agree.
Do you feel like that'll just plague them their entirety of their play style? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on Oxygen? What's their ceiling? Can they be number one in Europe without a doubt?
Yes, I think so. Yes, I mean the raw talent of all three individuals is perfect for a number one team in the EU. It's just whether they can make it work.
Cam?
I mean, yeah, I think they're having a bit of a rough time right now. I do think like they just need an extra trick up their sleeve, because in threes like everyone knows Jorya's in a 1v1. Like he'll hit 3 resets. He'll hit a reset into he'll just hit something disgusting, right? If you give him enough time. But in modern threes, you don't get any time. Somebody goes up, takes the ball off of you. Maybe you get it over him. Doesn't matter. Went to the backboard. There's a guy there. You've lost the ball and you've lost your boost. You land. There's no boost anywhere. It's all gone. It's a drought. So you need something else, like when you're getting past players, or you need to. And this is kind of the harder part, is instead of just passing all the time or sending the ball flying sideways all the time, is understand when you get that opening. I think that's what makes Carmine really good, is they only pass when they see the opening. And it's very threatening because it's a first man pass to a second man, and the second man's uncontested. He's just waiting there. He knows he's open. He's calling for that pass. And I feel like half of the time Oxygen are kind of just like sending it and relying on those mechanics and speed a bit too much, and it can lead to them just like kind of overcommitting or like just using too much boost when they don't need to. And so that's, I think, why they get boost starved a bit. But I mean, if you underestimate them, you'll probably, like, if you slow down even for a second and you aren't just constantly on them, like they will just peak on you. So I think with a team like that, they just need to raise their floor, and I think they're a very scary team.
I mean, how do you feel about them in the major, Drku? Now instead they are, what did we say they fell to, Cam? The 3rd seed? If I bring up, let me try bringing this up and see what it looks like.
Yeah, I think they played G2.
Oh, that looks terrible. What if I do that?
Which I think is a rough matchup for
Okay, that's
them.
even worse.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not sure, because G2's really only weakness is attacking too much and being counterattacked. And I feel like Oxygen are not a counterattacking team. Like, it's a battle of 2 offenses.
Yeah.
G2 haven't looked that good recently, though, either. I don't think.
Yeah,
they looked
that was
good in
kind
the
of
quarters, and then they looked awful against, was it Genji they played in the semis? They didn't look that good at all.
Okay, so GC is saying for sure they're the 3 seed now as Oxygen, which means they get G2. Kash is saying G2 doesn't look good. I have to agree with Kash. G2 looks worrying, I would say, is the word. And I'm concerned for them, like I kind of am for Moist. It's more of like a passionate concern. Like I really want the teams to do well, and they're not completely popping off, so I'm concerned about that. You know, G2 not making top 8 is a pretty big deal. When you have the consistency G2 had of the last year, I think I would make parallels to like NRG, kind of. Like when NRG didn't make top 8, it was kind of that type of shock. I think it's the same thing with G2. Now G2 were able to bounce back, of course. But heading into the major, I don't mean to call Chicago out, but Chicago had a tweet this week that was like, EU dominance ? And I was like, Chicago, you can't. We haven't. All right, Chicago, we, as in me and you, haven't beat EU in the finals. We can't be tweeting out about EU dominance right now, bro. You know, with the EU kind of has Chicago's number a little bit.
I mean, Chicago needs to make that tweet. He's the workhorse of G2. He's the one who puts in the dirty challenges. He keeps the ball moving. He's the one going for more bumps than anybody. He's the one stealing boosts, making those possession plays, making the hard challenges. And I think when Chicago's on point, he's going to cause a lot of problems for Oxygen and open up space for Atomic, who just doesn't lose 50s. And JNaps is always plays well. He always plays a super solid 3rd man and follow-up striker. So I think as the sign of confidence from Chicago is actually a pretty good look. You know, whether or not you think his claims are valid to, you know, talking about EU like that, I think it's a good sign.
Drku, do you think Oxygen? I'm sorry. Do you think G2 are the #1 threat out of NA to win the major, given their major experience? They are in the downward trend, but this is G2 we're talking about.
I mean, it's hard to say because, you know, G2 were so consistent for a long time, and then they just sort of suddenly just, you know, did really poorly. But as you said, obviously they have a lot of LAN experience, all 3 of them. So, I would say, I'd say definitely one of them, definitely one of the toughest from NA. But yeah.
Do you have a favorite for NA for you?
Genji, because
okay.
I love Jack.
Okay, that was going to be my follow-up question is, do you watch NA? Because as a content creator in Europe, I don't know how much cross-pollination there is for you, as in, like, do you pay attention to the NA scene heavily? Or like, what's your involvement level with RLCS in general?
I mean, you know, if RLCS is on, sometimes I'll go on there and watch it. I don't watch every single game, and I'm not, you know, as up to date
Ooh,
as
that
some other
reminds
people
me.
are.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I do watch it a fair bit. You know, if it's on, I do watch it.
I want to use this opportunity quickly to talk about the format. Maybe about burnout, since we did bring it up. And it's been a topic that's been discussed because of BDS's lack of headlines, I would say. They're not tanking, but obviously they're going through a struggle right now. Monkey Moon has been very open about it on Twitter this week. If you guys haven't seen, he's opened up about emotionally having a hard time to do with Rocket League, as well as personal issues. So Drku, as more of a spectator so far in your career, do you feel there's too much RLCS going on for you, as compared to maybe the old format? Were you as familiar with the old format? Like, when did you start did you watch Rocket League when we played like league format? When you were like 5?
I used to watch, like, I'm not sure what season it was. I genuinely can't remember. But it was like it was old.
Like,
It
they
was like
played one
when
match a day each team.
yeah
Yeah.
it was when it was like it was a lot more simpler than now. It was when, like, was it Mouse Sports had like Cookser in that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
without you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
That
was
was
like
like, oh
That was
yeah,
a
season
on
good team.
RG.
season 8
I
or
s-
9, one of those.
Yeah. So around that time, that's
Climb
when I started.
Splice era, just
Yeah.
saying. Splice era.
Really?
I mean, kinda. We didn't have much of an era. We had like a month. It's okay. I have my glory month. It's fine. Continue. So, for like, because you're I mean, not the target, but you're a big part of the demographic, right? Young, video game playing. Do you think it's too much for you to watch? Like, are you overwhelmed by the format, or do you think, as a spectator, you enjoy how much there is?
I think it's good to have a lot of games, obviously. But I think, especially, like, let's say like someone new joined in watching RCS, I think the format would be a bit confusing maybe. I'm not too sure about that. But there is a lot of stuff going on, and obviously back then it was a lot easier. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too much, but I can see why it will be confusing for some.
How about you, Cash?
I mean, I have a different perspective on it because I love playing the game loads and competing. I love the thrill of competing, so I think it's a perfect amount. Personally, as a professional playing in it, I love it. Every time, if I don't have them regionals, I get bored. Like, I'll have the week off before a regional. I'm like, I'm so bored. I just want the regional to come. So I personally love it, but obviously other people have different opinions. And for Monkey Moon, obviously, it's not the best for him, especially with the way he's at the moment.
I think
I
that.
mean, yeah. You
Sorry,
need like
Cam.
the
Go ahead.
it's like, back in the old days of our league play format, Karma.
Yeah.
You'd have the off season and you're scrimming every day. But there isn't an event for like 4 weeks or 3 weeks, and you're like, why am I scrimming? And half of the scrims get trolled because there's nothing on the horizon, And
Yep.
for some people, it's like burnout, and for other people, like they need a reason to like to actually try in their scrims. Otherwise, it's like, what am I playing for? Like, I'll try in 2 weeks. What's the point of like burning myself out now when there's nothing on the weekend?
Okay. I understand for sure. For me, I never felt that way. I was kind of like Cash. I wanted to be the best in the world. And I had a chip on my shoulder because I was a chick, obviously. And I felt like no one took me seriously. So I had to be extra serious because I feel like women in general in video games aren't taken seriously as competitors when they are on, in the scene in the beginning, right? Especially when I came in as a streamer. I felt like my legitimacy in terms of competing was probably a question mark to people. So that type of seriousness I kind of always carried. However, I don't know where the line gets drawn because I had to play, and if you think about it, I played seasons 1 through 5 just to play 6 best of 5s when I made RLCS. So I think I played for 3 years to play 6 best of 5s. Whereas
and now
now
players are like playing 180 games a season.
Cash plays
or
6
something.
best of 5s in a day sometimes against
Yeah.
And I love it.
RLCS teams. Right. And I'm kind of sitting here like, what the hell? Like, I want to play 6 best of 5s in a day. I would have gotten so much better playing 6 best of 5s a day, 6 best of 5s the next day, scrimming all day. To me, as a competitor, if you enjoy it, that sounds like a good time. I think the problem, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cam, because I think you've gone through some of the similar thing that I've gone to, is when you have had somewhat of a success, minor success, like you don't accomplish a lot. It depends on how you view yourself, but you don't accomplish as much as you want, and then the road gets much tougher. And you've had this period of success and comfortability, where you be comfortable with yourself, and then things change and it starts to affect you mentally. Like, I'm not as good anymore. Like, I'm too old. Like stuff like that.
People go through that, If you have a very long career, like it has its ups and downs. I mean, I won season 1, and then we got like dead last season 2, and then failed, missed season 3, then actually did good season 4, one-off seasons. I've had the roller coaster of a career, and the mentality can be a bit rough when you're, no matter what, like you still got to show up to scrims with whoever your team is every single day.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the biggest thing I miss most, even though the old format didn't have that many games, is we had off-season like tournaments and other community tournaments. Like even before, I swear I played more Rocket League before RLCS existed, like tournament-wise, than like we had ESLs, we had the Mockets, we had the Rocket Royales. All these were crazy long formats, and I was playing I was like streaming 8 hours of Rocket League tournaments a day or something, because there's always something to do. Maybe the prize pool is like we share $75 or we share $2,000 or whatever the community prize will happen to be, or if there's like an Astro tourney. There was a lot more Rocket League to play that wasn't just like ranked or 6-mans. I mean, 6-mans didn't exist back then, but there was a lot more outside of the RLCS, and now everything is contained to the RLCS format. And if you aren't a top 16 team, you just don't get to play. Like you just wait 3 months now.
Yeah.
If you were a team that missed the regional 2 qual and didn't have an invite to regional 3, you just wait. You're literally waiting until next year. Teams have been sitting on the bench for a month now and will not play until January. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they have to play for.
Yeah, that's the huge hole in the format, is everyone, I feel like, outside of top 4, sometimes 8. Like, Cash, you are perennial, like this split, you're perennially top 4 average, right? I would say you guys are like a top 4 average team. You didn't make top 8 this time. And like, you basically, do you feel like you were just watching this whole time? Like you almost didn't participate in the regional because of the format? Like it's almost like you didn't exist because you were on the team streams, right? And maybe some of the mainstream. But then after you're on those personalized team streams, if you don't make top 8, you don't have any advertisement for your org at all. 0. Like, do you feel the same way?
In a way, yeah.
As a
I mean,
player?
this regional, I just felt like, yeah, I was just watching and pretty much rooting for my friends because I'd already confirmed everything. So I felt like a fan just watching the regional and just supporting my friends. But just speaking about like the off-season tournament stuff, I know I'm changing topic, but
That's
I do
fine.
think that off-season at the end of the season isn't long enough at all, especially for players. That for me, I had like I had like a couple of weeks break after London, and then there was Worlds, and I still don't think the off season at the end of the season is long enough to put in off season tournaments. I mean, they could even have put one in for bubble teams after Regional 3, just for the something to keep fans interested in between the hype for the major and still giving the bubble team something to play for.
Drku, as someone on the outside looking in, if it's not 6-mans, right? You've used that term 6-mans before. How do you feel like you can prove yourself? I guess you say ranked, right? Is your probable instant response. But other than ranked, like, do you think that you have a path or a clear path for you on how to get on a team if you wanted to? Like, I don't know how to phrase the question. Is it a struggle for you?
RLCS team?
Yeah, like there's not a clear path for you, right? It feels like confusing.
Well, I genuinely think, right, and this has been like a way that a few players have actually done it, and probably more than I think. But there's a few examples as well. It's like there's Ivan and there's Smokes, and both of them have improved and obviously got to RLCS caliber from literally just like playing like hours and hours of ranked a day. So they're put in like thousands of games of twos, maybe some ones as well. Ones is a great way to prove yourself. But yeah, they put thousands of games in each season, and obviously that now they're RLCS caliber. So I genuinely think, and along with six mans as well, because that is good. Six mans and ranked, both of them. If you really do if you want to go pro, I'd say stay away from ranked threes because it's a bit messy. But ranked twos and ones, and also whilst also playing six mans is probably the best way to.
So ranked 3s, the professional mode, is the worst. That is ironic. Honestly.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's such a mix, and it's such like a what's the word, like a messy game mode. Like you get teammates that don't know what they're doing, and I think ultimately it just you what's it called, you develop bad habits from it. And I think if you were to grind ones instead of threes, that'd be like so much better because you'd be actually improving everything in ones. But I think threes develops bad habits.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Because like,
I mean, you
even
also
if you
build
solo
bad
queue it-
habits as well from ones as well, though. I think if you play too much of it.
Yeah, that near post used to be like a major killer. Like if you were shadowing, if you went down the same side of the field, like in ones all the time, in threes, it used to be hugely problematic. That I remember as like when I used to be a ones main, trying to drill that into my head, not to remember, because I enjoyed ones a lot. But yeah, I think like, Cam, don't you think though that at least hearing Drku's perspective, it's interesting because he has somewhat of an idea to do, but I think the fact that there's not, I don't know, a clearer road to at least open up opportunities can be problematic for the scene.
it can't just be ranked in six mans. I mean, the six mans isn't even a psionics thing. That's just like people made that from scratch. People built that up. That community got built up on that. And for that to be like half of your road to being a professional, like I honestly have been waiting a long time ever since the RLCS format got announced for Psionics to step up and really, bring back that goal for people that are just outside like the top 12, top 16, like what RLRS used to be for a lot of people. That sustained so much. Instead, we have the RLCS, which is just the top, and CRL, which is just full-time college students. And that's kind of all they touch. So there's just lots of gaps, lots of players hanging, and now all they have is really to focus and improve on themselves, which means it's lots of ranked twos, it's lots of ranked ones. Maybe they form some bad habits, maybe they don't. But I mean, ranked threes, I agree with Drku. It's just not it. Like I solo queue ranked
you have
threes
me in your
on
ranked
stream.
games, Cam.
Yeah, I
if you roll me in a ranked threes, I'm going off the ceiling. I'm turtling up the sidewall. Listen, ranked
sometimes
threes
the
is
duo, like when you solo queue ranked threes and you get that wild duo,
like me and Mystic, it's bad.
Yeah, those games are chalked straight up from the get. I mean, we're down 5-0. I'm not forfeiting because like we're having fun, but like that game is
like
not
Drku,
a win.
Dude. I'm trying to get the clips, Cam. You just can't pass. Listen, that's the real issue.
I'm just not hitting you out of the air. Flip, you're right.
But it's just like, not that, Drku and Kash are privileged. I don't mean to use that word, but, Kash, if you didn't have somewhat of a backbone of your career already established, you weren't a top 4 team, and you were perennially watching, right? You were like a hold on, let me pull a team out. Ogiri, who like plays on Friday, but they don't play anywhere else. They have no mention. Like if you just show up on Saturdays, you have no idea how good Ogiri is. A team that borderline is top 8, right? And is always watching on Saturday and Sundays. And Drku, for you have, you've done a great job building your TikTok. So I think you kind of have somewhat of a backing because you have like a social media prevalence. People are recognizing your name. And I think if you took those things away from both of you, and you were someone who, was interested in the game, has been playing ranked since you were younger, You're up there in like the 1900s. You don't have a social media following. You don't have a team. I think it's a lot scarier in the Rocket League scene right now. Like, what do I do? You know, other than maybe add a pro and hope that they play with me in twos. Like, I see, like, that seems to be the road. And for me, it's just like, do you guys have a solution for this? Because is it RLRS again? You know, or I know it's off the top of your head, but at least anything that I feel like would expand opportunity for players who don't have a social media presence, who aren't known in the scene, but definitely want to get involved.
I think a really underrated thing that people don't really understand is having the right friends around you or having the right players around you. If you're in a friend group that is all better than you, let's say, you'll have motivation and you'll have you know, they can teach you how to get better. I think having people around you that are better than you and all that is a great thing to have.
Okay, so socializing through ranked, trying to play with people who you deem have the same drive as you, same morals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And connecting that way.
I mean, that's how a lot of people do it, you know?
Yeah.
You see it a lot.
Do you feel the same, Cash?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my own way of keeping myself motivated when I was bad was watching like you guys stream and just picking up on what yous do differently to what I
damn
do.
it.
That's just on a different level.
Shouldn't have
And
streamed.
I know you shouldn't have.
I'd
It's all
still
your
be a
fault
pro,
that I'm this
man.
good now.
We leaked all our secrets. But like, don't you think an RLRS though, or some type of secondary format to support the scene definitely would be a step in the right direction for players who have nothing to go off of other than I'm 1802s and I want to be there in like a year. But right now I don't have any friends. Cam?
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry.
Honestly,
or Cash,
honestly,
anyone?
this might be a bit of a hot take, but like half of the reason I just want bubble tournaments to come back is so that these young bubble players have a place to vent their egos somewhere else,
my God,
like
the
away
egos.
from me. Like
Yeah.
I just do not care. Like they're just hard gatekeeping, like trying to just be good at Rocket League. Just go play in a tournament, win or lose, whatever. Blow off some steam. Maybe you win. Good for you. Pat on the back. Tuck you in for bed. Whatever. Leave me alone. Go play your tournaments. Like they're just fiending for something because they have nothing, and so it's just talk all the time.
Maybe that's why ranked is such a cesspool, is because everyone thinks it's a tournament every 5 minutes. And I'm out here trying to Drku it up, double flip reset, and I miss and leave you in a one-on-one, and I get called dog trash, washed. Every single name in the book gets thrown at me because there's
You
nothing.
threw 8 MMR and they're upset.
Yeah, it's like, bro, just go next. You know, and I have to admit, I have become victim to that though. I've caused victims of that. I've been in that scenario where it's like, holy crap, bro, how are you this bad? How are you throwing my twos game right now? So I understand, but at the same time, I don't think it was as big of a deal back then to lose twos games as it is now. It's like you're in like a gladiator Roman gauntlet and you have to win or you're dead. Yeah.
I mean, even I get it in lobbies. I'll play ones and I'll go for a clip, and I'll get flamed, or in twos I'll get flamed. It's crazy how many people just want to flame someone for losing a ranked game.
Major attendant Cash confirmed washed by random Timmy Bionicles 13 on the other team. Like
that's really how it is,
crazy.
though.
It is.
And again, phone lines are open, guys. If you want to call in and tell us about your ranked experience, but it's like for me, it's like, dude, yeah, I can do the fundamentals and bail your ass out and sit in net for you 24/7 if you want me to, but like I'm trying to get good out here. Sorry that you can't save the ball. Like, get off my back. That's how it feels like.
this is just a message to stop solo queuing. Find some friends to play Rocket League with that
true.
are like-minded.
Drku's on it.
Follow Drku's advice. It sounds like he has lots of great ranked games because he gets a duo. He gets a duo.
That's Drku's advice. Get some friends. And he's not wrong. It's such a more relaxing time when you have someone to queue with. So if you're out there trying to find your way in to the pro scene, I think it's really appropriate to find someone who also feels the same way as you and is at the same spot as you. I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend messaging pros and trying to play with pros when you're not there yet.
What if
Christine's
they
gonna
gotta
do it
shoot
with
their
me.
shot? You know.
Our producer will do it with us, but she's like bronze, Cam. So I think we got to get some different teammates.
Well, you know, sometimes the
Hold on,
3v3
hold on,
games.
hold on.
Oh god,
I-
now she's here.
I one time hit bronze 2,
Okay,
so
that's like the
calling me-
average to 1800s player right now is a bronze
calling me
2.
bronze is malice, and I might quit the show.
I wouldn't blame you.
Dang.
I wouldn't blame you. But yeah, I think the format can lead to burnout. And how players deal with that, I think it seems like it's really difficult. And as someone who has been a pro and is now, I mean, I'm not retired, but I'll just say I'm retired. There's no it's weird because there's not much to do after you're done playing. It's I mean, if you go into content, sure. There's stuff for you to do there, or if you have a social media presence at all, this is why it's important for you guys to build up your social media accounts, stream, get your name out there, so that if the day comes where you aren't a player, you still have an avenue through the scene that allows you some flexibility and creativity. Because there's no bubble scene, there's no way to build yourself back up right now. It's your friend group with the pros and you get tryouts, or you're deemed washed by that friend group and you get nothing. And there's no bubble scene to join and create a new team or nothing. It's you make top 8 or you're irrelevant. And I think that's a really difficult place that the scene has entered.
It's a bit of a slippery slope. It's turning into a little bit, especially with how good, we're in a golden age of Rocket League, in my opinion, with how many games are getting played now. Players have just gotten so good. Even players that you look at them mechanically a year ago and you're like, oh my God, they're a dinosaur. And you look at them now and they're keeping up just fine. And the new generation of players are absolutely crazy consistent with some mechanics that I would have never thought possible.
Like these two.
Yeah. So I see things that did not even think that could happen. So with so much competition biting at your heels constantly, it's got to feel like, with how dangerous and open the format is, that you just have a target on your back all the time and teams get to take a shot every single day almost at you, So it can definitely get stressful. And I mean, if they're not going to add anything to the format, it just extend the breaks a little bit, that's probably the best thing they can do as a band-aid fix, is just give a little bit more time in off seasons, maybe even between majors or between even regionals, just give some more time. Players would like to be able to take a week off and not feel super punished for it.
Absolutely.
I have to agree, yeah. I mean, I'm taking the weekend off, and then I'm back on the grind for the major, so I'm getting 2 days off, proper days off.
What's your day off, dream? What's the thing to
My
do with your 2
dream.
days?
Oh, I like to go golfing with my dad. Some
Nice.
relaxing,
Aw.
just getting out the house,
That's so
or just lay down and be
cute.
lazy. Golf's a fun sport. Just anything to just get away from your computer and just relax. But also, I think Cynix could add something for the bubble scene, like the grid. I think the grid was really good in RLCSX, but there still wasn't enough opportunity for the bubble side of things.
That's a good point. Because when we played the grid, it was a kind of a joke. Not a joke, but it didn't matter. And the point was to have a wild card qualify for a playoff spot, I think.
It was
But
like majors, right?
Major spot.
It was
but
a
then
major spot, yeah.
major
This is during
EG
the
made
online
it
majors, yeah.
because EG made it through grid once. I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
To the playoffs or something.
I kind of like that idea where the bottom 6 teams from RLCS this week go into a top 6 from a qualifier and play in a grid, maybe? I don't know.
Or
But-
even the teams that just don't re-qualify and miss out because they don't have enough points to get in regional 3, just giving them that opportunity to just an extra chance maybe instead of just playing these tiebreakers would be a lot better.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
An extra.
Off the topic as well. Do you guys do you guys have a hero? Because I think a lot of people look up to you guys and RLCS and Drku on TikTok. Probably you're some people's heroes. Do you guys, I'll start you, Drku, do you have a hero out there? It can be outside of RLCS, doesn't have to be.
I would say Upjack, definitely. I think because he's a pro and he's obviously really good. And he also creates amazing content. Like he's the perfect like sort of he's it's hard to say. It's like he's the perfect sort of person in the RL scene where he's got, consistent, really good content and he's amazing at the game. And he's a nice person as well. So yeah, I love Jack.
Can confirm he is a nice person. He was on the show 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
2 or 3 weeks ago, yeah, for EU.
Super classy guy. Loved having him on. It's a good pick. Dirk. It's interesting. How about you, Kash?
I mean, I looked up to a lot of players, but I'm not gonna say a player. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna say my parents, because they allowed me to have this opportunity to compete in a game, which obviously gaming in their kind of age isn't a thing, and a lot of people would be against it. And even now, the support they give me and just keeping me motivated, and like I'll have a hard loss, they'll come to me, oh, it's all right, you need to regain, and I'm like, yeah, you don't understand what I'm playing, but it's all right, and they keep me motivated to keep going as well.
I don't understand what you're playing, but it's all right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Amazing, though. Like,
yeah.
I remember, oh man, like we were right when the scene was first starting, how many like players just disappeared over the course of a year because their parents thought gaming was just like not feasible.
Yeah, I had a few teammates who like their parents would shut their computer off, literally. Like pull the plug.
They're like mid-game, mid-tournament. It's like, nope, parents told me to get off the computer, and it's like this is the beginning of something great. You got to have faith in your kids. You got to support them.
How do your parents react, Dirk? Do they understand the magnification that 1 million followers on an app gives you, or do they even know? Like,
oh yeah, of course they know, and yeah, they are proud. And they're also supportive, which is great. But yeah, they're always saying well done. They're always saying how good I'm doing, and that's all I can ask for.
Because I feel like the younger the parents, the more open they are to the idea. It's like my parents, when I first started doing it, it did not fly. However, like when I started doing well in RLCS, my mom in particular and my grandma were super supportive of it, and still to this day they are. And that has been, as Kash was saying, like a huge. It's insane to have your parents behind you or your family behind you, and have people outside of this bubble we're in, where it seems like sometimes it can seem like how Monkey Moon feels, that when it goes downhill, your entire world is going downhill, because people on the internet are ruthless, like real bad.
Oh yeah.
The anonymity with what you can say just allows people to just spew vile things whenever they want all the time. And I think, NRG are kind of seeing that right now. I think BDS are probably seeing it right now from the French community. I just don't see it because I'm not among that French community and that pressure. I've felt it before when my team hasn't performed well. And I just think, having that support system outside of Rocket League is huge for players.
I mean, it's great until you realize, oh no, my parents who don't understand memes now use the internet all the time to check up on me. And oh God, they're commenting on my profile. Stop. Oh no.
Yeah, Kim, I think your dad's in chat. I don't mean to spoil it.
He's in every chat.
I think he's everywhere. In there. Hi, Papa Kronovi.
As much as I love him, parents posting on social media is cringe. It they can't help. Most of the time I'm like, get away. It's like, your mom drops you off for school, says bye, I love you, like, not in front of my friends, mom, like, you're making me look not cool. It's just like, you guys relate to this a little bit, surely, like, oh God, my parents know how to use TikTok. This is slightly worrying for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. My parents post on Facebook and like tell everyone like in my area about my job. I'm like, you don't need to know about my job, all right? Like, I just want to be left alone. And my mom will tweet all the time, bring your ice and fire, and I'm like, it's all right.
Oh my God, that's so good.
She tweets every single game day, and it's like trolls will reply to my tweet, or I'll get a DM, and she's like, who are they? I want to know the Twitter, everything, blah blah blah.
I think I enjoyed Jane Apstad on Twitter all the time. I think he's one of those good parent Twitterers. If they're out there, I think Jane Apstad has the exception. Cam, your dad has been awesome at events. I love talking to your dad. He's funny. He's funny as hell.
It brings the energy.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, a lot of the Rocket League dads, at least all the NA dads that I've met, you know, it's really the ones that, I mean, obviously they're massive supporters. They go to all the events that they're, you know, their kids are participating in. So you only see like the really good side, but it's really cool to see like the parent gamer energy. You know, feels like supportive, even though because esports is young, right? Like, and it's still like I'm saying esports is young, and I feel old, you know. Like I'm 9 years older than you, Drku. Like there's a massive gap here, and like there's gonna be future generations still to come of like esports, and just to like get support from the people even older than us is just like really cool to look back at. So I'm very proud of it, and I honestly hope Rocket League lasts for like a really long time, so that we get to like, so that I get to be old and support other people. You know,
it has
and
the tools too.
The full cycle of cringe can come out, and I can post a meme that I don't know what it means, but I keep seeing it everywhere. So I post it.
I did
and
a cringe thing
like,
this week.
And you'll be in your parents' shoes.
Exactly. I can't wait for the day.
Time. There
What'd
were some players beefing in NA this week, posting like things about each other, and I thought they were friends, just memeing on each other. So I went in and I was like, "Oh, real cute guys, that's hilarious." I said like I was rating his dance moves, and then they DM me and they were like, "No, Karma, we're beefing. This is not like a fun time. You need to like just so you know." And I just deleted everything. I was like, "Oh God, get me out, dude." Yeah, and they all commented on it and like liked my tweet and stuff. I was like, "Ah, oh, jeez." I got in the middle of
impressions. You should have just.
I got in the middle of some accidental beef.
Just take those impressions.
It's funny.
They're yours now.
And I think, guys, to wrap up the show, we need your pick to win the major. Cash, you can be as biased as you want. I'll allow it. But in the major right now, we got all the top 4 from Europe, or is it 5 from Europe?
5.
5 from Europe, 5 from NA. Let me just list the teams out quick. So from Europe, just for everyone listening, we have Carmine, Cash, Team Quadrant, Oxygen, Moist. Those are your teams. Oh, and Liquid. Sorry.
And Liquid.
Then from NA, we have Gen G, FaZe, Space Station V1, and G2. And did I say Space Station? I did. Then we got Cam's team, the Pioneers. Power as well. Those are the 2 Oceanic teams. From South America, we have the Club, who look insane, and Team Secret, also very dangerous. Falcons are returning from Mina, and then the controversial James Cheese, which I don't know why it's a controversy, are also at the major. And yeah, who do you guys have winning? I'll start with you, Cam, and we can work our way around.
You know, I was hoping I had time to think a little bit.
Oh, okay. We'll go to Drku. Drku, who do you have winning?
Thanks.
I got you.
I'm gonna go with like I don't know if this is like I don't know. I'm gonna go with Carmine actually. I have a feeling they're gonna do really well.
I think if you don't have Vatira in your top 3 right now, I think you're mistaken. That is for sure.
Yeah.
I had to concede this weekend. The French wall attacked me. I was like, all right, Vatira. I saw his game versus Oxygen, the plays they were making. I was like, all right, you win. You're the best in the world, dude, for now. It was really impressive. So I understand the KC pick. Cash, how you feeling? You going with the selfie pick on this one?
I'm going with the selfie pick. Got the merch
Let's
on.
go.
Quadrant's winning. We're bringing it home.
He's got the merch on. He's on the podcast. Hopefully the podcast brings luck, Cash. I won't give you my boost, so you're safe there. I'll try and give it to who's your biggest competitor? You think?
I mean, NA's kind of sleepover, so
Yeah.
maybe like the Club. I think are Falcons.
The Club or Falcons? Really interesting.
Well, yeah, EU. We've played them all before. Whereas like
that's an easy
Falcons
win.
and Sam, they're kind of like you never know what you're gonna expect out of them. So
That's a good point. That's why I wanted Furia to stay in Sam. Cam, you want me to go?
I mean, no, I think I want to piggyback off that because I think the Falcons shout's great. I mean, we didn't really touch on Mina a lot. Falcons actually had some serious competition. Mina's been looking very competitive. I actually think Falcons have really, really been getting a test in their own region, and people don't get to play against them very often. So I think Falcons are going to come out swinging, actually. I think they'll do really well. I actually think they're going to be like a sleeper pick, like a dark horse. So I'm going to go with them.
A good one. And I'm gonna kind of be biased saying this one because I am a broadcaster.
Well, you can't
for the
pick
team.
Furia, so
Yeah. I know
No,
you're gonna
I would have picked Furia. This is tough. Gosh, because it's like Gen G looks so good, but it's NA. Okay, so I take that with a grain of salt. I've said EU over NA all day right now. And Carmine look hot as heck. They look so good. And then you have, Cash's team who has put together solid performances. But I think for me, I'm going to lean Oxygen, which is a bit of controversial for me because the way they're playing currently, I worry about. But on LAN, if they can do that play style, I want to see how it goes. If they can be as ballsy as they need to be for that play style to work. The pass heavy, the highly mechanics. They're all three excited players going there for the first time under a new org. I think they could pop off. So I'm going to take Oxygen this one, I think, as my early pick. And
you're not biased, totally real pick. Yeah.
Not biased, yeah, totally not biased.
No, I just, the first regional for me, Oxygen, it was like, wow. They are changing the meta. I think the way they're playing is going to be the way teams are going to aim to play towards more. And then the second, third regional, they kind of just lost steam. I think if they can bring back that first regional form, somewhat biased, that I think that they could make a deep run. Winning it, they'd need some magic, I think, but they could get it.
Respectable.
Yeah. I think Quadrant. Not just because you're here, Kash. I think that Snasky. I love Snasky. Is he a great coach, by the way? I haven't spoken to him.
I gassed him up way
so
too
long.
much, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a good coach. I do gas him up way too much, but he's the best coach I've had in my career so far, from experience.
Yeah, he's just his personality. Like when we used to hang out at LANs all the time, I love being around him. He's so fun. He's a great guy.
I've seen on the timeouts between games, sometimes Nasky looks very serious. Does he,
Oh yeah, he's
does he
like
give
an
off that
old man.
serious demeanor?
He's like an old man. No, not in between series, but like when we're at boot camp of a morning, he's like, "Don't speak to me until I have my coffee," or "You probably shouldn't." And I'm like, he's such an old man vibes, but he's great for the team as well because it's nice to have that guy that gets
the
everyone
dad
serious.
energy.
Yeah, the dad of the team, I would say. Yeah, because me and Ix are just kids.
Does Kaylee ever give you a hard time? I love Kaylee too.
Kaylee?
Yeah, isn't Kaylee his girlfriend?
Maybe.
No.
Am I wrong on that? Okay, I
You're
apologize.
wrong on that. Yeah.
I am wrong on that? Okay, my bad. I'm behind on the times. Sorry for that. Still love Snasky, though.
He's the goat.
Yeah, he's awesome. But I also think, there's just this major, I think, is going to be really interesting to watch. You have a lot of teams in form, out of form, heading into the major that, one team did good early, one team did good in the middle, one team did good late. In terms of forms, anyone can show up. So I think that's going to be an exciting time. I do want to shout out Drku first. Obviously, you can find him. Drku, you want to give a shout out about everything you're working on, where they can find you, and you are streaming after this, right?
Get this man to a mill on TikTok, guys. Come on, he's close.
I'm like 14K off, so
It's DRKU _,
Yeah.
right?
On Twitch, yeah. On TikTok, it's just Drku.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to follow my Twitter, it's DRKU _ as well.
All right, so you can find him on TikTok, Twitch. He'll be streaming today as well, and Kash. Other than at the major, where can they find you?
Find me, it's twitter.com/iCash with 2 H's 1. And I only have one shout out, and that's shout out you guys for having me on. It's been a blast.
I've
enjoyed it.
Appreciate
It's
it.
been great
Thank
having you guys.
Yeah, you guys, we really appreciate you coming on. It was a bit of an interesting conversation. We didn't really focus entirely on the weekend and the major. We kind of got off topic, but I enjoyed it because I think that those types of conversations that we had are things that need to be talked about. And I also think it's really interesting hearing both your point of views as someone, who's an established pro, and Drku is someone on the way up, you could argue. Also presence in social media and stuff. So thanks you guys for coming on and sharing your opinions. Best of luck to you, Kash, at Worlds. Any final thoughts you want to share, Cam?
I thought it was a great show. We covered a lot of very important topics, and honestly, just talking about RLCS with everyone's got me hyped for the major. So I really can't wait. It can't come soon enough.
Yeah, keep an eye out for us in regards to the major. We'll have a major post-game show as well. I don't believe we will be live doing our post-game show. I think something ended up happening where we're not going to be at Rotterdam right now. But we'll probably do something from the Twitch stream. And also, we may do a preview show. Depends on how things go. We'll let you know. Make sure to also follow the... pulling it up right now. The show Twitter, which I created this week, chat. So you guys will be proud of me. Off the Post has their own Twitter account, and we managed to gain 9 followers. I'm sorry, in 2 days. So, we're doing a great job. If you want to go ahead and follow that for information on the show, we would appreciate it.
As we could literally 10 times our follow count if everybody clicked the link right now.
Exactly.
Everyone should right now.
You could have the power to do that.
That's right.
That's +1 look for Quadrant at the major.
Yeah,
True.
+1 luck. I'll definitely be cheering for Kash. Hopefully Oxygen don't hear me. And Drku, thank you so much as well. And the callers, thanks for calling in, everyone. We appreciate it. Hope you have a good night, day, afternoon, wherever you are. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.